Hello again. Welcome back. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hello again. Welcome back to another daily Binding of Isaac Repentance. Yeah. It's June 16th. Not March, June. Gotta catch myself there. So we one last run. It's kind of, oh boy, what's this? See here is 2KJQWTNY. Ooh, that tears rate, that shot speed, I don't know. I don't know about this, Scoobs. I need a tears up and a shot speed up fast. Damage is okay, but oh my goodness gracious. Anyways, what I've been up to today. I had a couple errands to do. I had to get some groceries, and then I had to mail something off. I mailed off a bill, a payment, rather, about a little over 2 weeks ago, and they haven't cashed the check yet, and it's supposed to be due on the 1st. And so I decided to do was take a photograph of the payment with the envelope with the tracking on there, and on top of that, I took a picture of the receipt at the same time, in case if any nefarious things could happen. You always want to kind of, back up that kind of stuff. You're making payments for like certain bills, like electricity bill or something. That's fine. If you don't do that, that kind of procedure. If you had no problems with the electric company or something, with not cashing the payments or pretending they don't have the payments, it's nice to have. It's nice to have. What I'm saying is, let me back up here for a second. It's nice to have a company that it's reliant on cashing payments in time and not say that they didn't receive it. Now, this company I am sending it off to specifically in the past, which was like a few years ago, there was a previous owner that claimed that they didn't receive any payment, that it didn't come in the mail, and want me to send another payment. So I did that, and then months later, without telling me, they cashed the check. And the other check that was supposedly missing. Alright, we're going to lose our tears unless we get a full hit. Well, whatever. Guess we're down to that one heart. At least I get your tears up. Almost max tears up. But shot speed's got to be taken care of here. That's for sure. So, even though it's happened years ago and the owners have been changed since, the new owners are like the children of the parent. Oh my God. Don't let me die here. I got things set up nicely, for goodness sake. Oh! They'll split the flies up if you're near them like that. So I'm not saying that I'm going to have problems with them, but there's always a possibility that something can happen. So far, I haven't seen anything weird come about with this. So, apart from this happened last month and maybe some previous months ago, and normally a company like that would turn those payments in like within the first week, right? But for some reason lately they haven't. No like letters, no emails, no phone calls, no nothing about explaining anything. So I'm very curious what's going on. Could have been vacation stuff, could be like whatever. maybe. Just maybe. So, just out of, like, precaution and stuff, I'm photographing even the payments now. Because right after that whole thing that happened with, my payment wasn't supposedly received, and then they turned around and cashed it months later, out of the blue, without warning, which I already provide a replacement payment, which that other check should have been completely negated, but it wasn't. They just cashed it anyways. And so the result of that, I didn't have to pay for X amount of months. So ever since then, I put down tracking. I pay extra money, which is about now like $6, for tracking and signature stuff. So in other words, only the person that's authorized at the business has to sign, someone that represents the company or the owner of the building has to sign the said document in order to get the letter. And oftentimes it ends up that nobody's answering the door, the post office, the postage carrier, so then they take it back to the nearest post office, which the notice is left from the door for them to go and pick it up, which they picked it up on the 3rd. Keep in mind, it's due on the 1st. And it came in on the 31st of last month. So, no issues with whatever. So now, here it is, the 16th, and the payment has not been processed at all yet. Now, I don't know. I have some speculations with it. I don't want to be one of those people who would be caught with my pants down and be like, oh, wow, what is it I was gonna say? Oh, wow, looks like you didn't give us the check that came in. Or, hey there, sport, looks like we didn't receive the payment until X amount of time. Da-da-da, so we're trying to calculate how much we're going to, falsely charge you with. One of them did that once, the previous owner, but it was all handwritten, there's no proof of anything. It was literally just a scam, and I've never seen anything of it since. So, that was before I did the whole, like, tracking thing on there. So they have not, so ever since then, it's been like a few years. They haven't notified me of any, like, late payments, anything like that. So I did an address change, like the whole shebang. No money there, okay. So the first thing I started doing was the tracking. Ooh, that's actually pretty good there. So yeah, the first thing I did was tracking. And then last year or two, I then decided to use security envelopes. And nothing came up with, like, my mail being open and they're not receiving it or something like anything weird like that. But I decided to get them because it's a great security feature. Actually, before I did that, I changed my checks too. So there's more security features in the checks, less likelihood of any fraudulent practices with using my checks for, writing something off on there. So that was the next thing I did. And that one was a response to an apartment company trying to write something in there that you're not supposed to, somebody in there, which I owe absolutely nothing on the balance. And I always turn my payments in on time. If I have a late payment, I add the difference to it too, of what I owe on top of it. I don't leave like an empty balance. And so I do that too. And so I changed the, check security stuff ever since, which doesn't cost anything additional. So it's got like, the watermarks, the fibers, the bleeding ink, all that other stuff. Oh, and it says void if you scan it and stuff like that, I think. Or certain like security features on there. Essentially, there's a bunch of stuff on the check. And then, so I did that, and that was years ago. I started doing that. And then in between that point of the check thing, with the tracking and the check changes, I was also, well, for a separate office, I photographed where my payment was being dropped off at, which is like a type of box, payment box or whatever. And I photographed, and now, sometime years later, I started taking video saying, hey, it's this time, whatever, this day, I'm dropping my payment off at X office. Just a short little video. And I do that every month on top of that. Because you could argue that, oh, wow, he just got the check written out, but it doesn't mean that he's put it in the box, which, like, there's been a couple of times where they said they didn't receive my payment, but they actually did. They just didn't look hard enough. I don't think it was anything nefarious. Because they know I'm photographing everything and videoing it, showing proof. Now, as far as I could tell with this office, recently today where I sent the payment off and I just photographed my receipt with the tracking number, with the envelope, with the address on there, with the payment, I don't think I need to be providing a video while I'm at it. Because there's going to be witnesses at the post office that's been seeing me do this once a month, every month. For years. I mean, if anything comes up with the core stuff, it'd be like, yeah, here's all my receipts that I kept in my freezer so they don't, like, get damaged. Which I should just get around and scanning everything. Scan all my receipts. Put them in order. And then taking screenshots of each of the tracking, like, distances and everything else of where I sent things over the years. Because it should still be active after years. X amount of years. So kind of keep that on hand. Which it won't take long to really do. To kind of gather that up digitally. Like, say they make a case out of it. It's like, oh yeah, we didn't receive it until later. Or they didn't provide a payment with an envelope. With just an envelope with the address on there. And a return address. Which I can illustrate to a judge or something. Be like, well, first off, I'm not paying $5 or $6 of a tracking and a signature requirement on a payment that there's no payment to it. That's stupid. Second of all, I've been very consistent with turning in my payments in on time. Thirdly, here you go, Judge. Here's a whole list of payments over the years that's made it in time or close to the time of it. And there's nothing nefarious of it. This is not, a scam that these tracking numbers are fake because you can verify it yourself. Oh, and by the way, I started taking photographs after these payments that they haven't been cashed into time have, now been shown that I'm even sending the payments in too. Ah, moving box again. Why not? We'll give it another chance, I guess. Hopefully we get something here. All right. Now, does it seem like I'm a little overzealous with, like, kind of protecting something as measly as a payment like that. Well, I've got certain things that are being stored in a particular area, and the last thing I want to happen is someone taking advantage of me and my whole payment system, where they would affect my credit or the items I have within the unit. So, yes, absolutely. Now, will they ever do that if there's been a good record of them not doing anything nefarious for a while? Well, I guess you could say, like, well, if they have a good track record, these new owners, suppose it wouldn't be a problem. However, a problem can arise if the right conditions happen. And I'm sending it to a town that it has a lot of scamming, you know, fraudulent stuff that's been happening over the years. And people are desperate for money in that town for sure, because it's been getting worse. I mean, any town's getting worse with financial issues. You people too and stuff, and they can lead to desperations. If their meat is not met for, you know, financial gains. Now, I have a contract too, so it stays consistent with the payments. It's been like that since a very long time. Now, I don't think they're going to really turn on me. That's the thing. I don't think they will, but it can happen. The last thing I need to happen is a rental being completely overtaken by the company out of nowhere without any notice whatsoever, and under false pretenses. Hey, look at that small rock. Now, it may sound like it's a little complicated of what I'm doing, all this stuff at once. It's not that costly. You know, apart from time and some money, but it's... because I'm paying about $70 a year extra, I suppose, with tracking, $70-$80, which is not a great big deal for me. It's kind of like having insurance, right? Like, you get like renter's insurance, for example, and you're living somewhere. You know, time after time again, you spend money on having the insurance and nothing happens each month, right? Like, your property isn't being damaged by anything like water, flooding, you know, from like any water damage, like flooding or like a pipe leak, or someone catches something on fire, or somebody else does it, like in a different unit. Like, it's a precaution. You're paying on the ability to have something in place in case something does arise out of it and you're not caught with your pants down. And that's what I compare this as, is a type of insurance of what I'm doing here, these different things. It's a type of reinsurance in which I'm not going to be caught with my pants down. And I'm not going to be, you know, suffering the consequences out of it. And occasionally you do run into those issues where it's like where the apartment stuff a couple times, they said they didn't receive a payment, right? And I tell them, I've given you the payment. And then I list the dates and times. And there's been one occasion where it's like, well, we didn't receive it. And then I sent a photo of when I sent it. And told them when, where, and how. And then they look hard enough, and then they find it. Because sometimes they can get in the box or whatever, so... Last thing you want to do would be like, you know, you don't have any proof. You can't really tell them where you were and when at the time, like an alibi, kind of. And then it'd be like, okay, I'm going to give you another payment. And then they can just throw away the other check, pretend they never received it. And then next thing you know, they charge you extra because, surprise, surprise, you didn't make the payment in time. So, pretty good reason to do that, honestly. Very sincerely. And I call it as an insurance policy because it's something to have just in case, like a backup plan, you know? So there is risk involved. Now, for an electric bill or something, it's like, well, they've been cashing my payments in very consistently the last, like, let's see, several years. There hasn't been any mysterious disappearances of mail for a while. So I'm good in that regard. We get a third guppy item, by the way. Yeah, we'll take that. Even though it's going to screw up the chest, if we ever go to the chest, then whatever. It'll give us double deal items too, regardless. I don't think I've been in the item room yet here. Looking for it. Have I been in the item room? I've been in there. Yeah. So yeah, it's may sound like it's a little complicated or something. Kinda is. With that regard. I mean, it sounds a little complicated if you've never done it before, I suppose. All these series of things, but that was kind of built up incrementally, so it wasn't like all at once kind of deal where it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all this at once. No, it's just kind of like building something to it, you know? Like security envelopes I've added. Sometime after, let's see. Either after I changed the checks over to security checks or to the photographing of, no, it would have been after the checks, I think. After the checks change over. And that one, it was just like, you know, just in case, because like with security checks, you know, people can't peek through the envelope and be like, oh yeah, there's something in here. You know what I mean? So I did that as an extra bit of security with the company that I sent it to. Which, security envelopes aren't that expensive either. Like a few dollars for like a pack of 100 or 200 of them. I mean, that's gonna last me for years. Like legit. I do recommend security envelopes. If you're sending a payment that doesn't have any security envelopes, where you're sending it to, I recommend them. Just an extra bit of security. All right. No guppy dream in here yet. All right. Down next floor. And on top of the checks, too, they have like a backing on them. Back of the checks where you write on it, then it gives you like a kind of a carbon copy of it, sort of what you're writing down on a separate form piece. And plus, I got a bank, too, that tells me, like, hey, wow, I forgot to check my post box, damn it. I forgot about that. I need to go check on that later today. Oh, that was the one thing I forgot, too. Gotta check that frequently in case they send me something weird. Which they haven't. Nothing's been really sent to me except for, like... Oh, notice to, you know, renew your postage box. Am I really doing this? I'm trying to... There we go. Worth it. No, no more troll bombs, please. Alright, we're gonna do this. I think we'll just pop that. Mystery gift. Well, we found a secret room. We could take it in there and pop it in there, I suppose, but we'll do it right after we build this charge. So we don't be skipping out on those items. Alright, so we found the secret room. So we can pop the box in there. See, what do we get? No! Yoink. Oh, no! I hate how that bomb is just like... You gotta have to kind of push away from it so it doesn't, like, blow up on you. Alright, what do we got? Mystery sack. I guess. And then we can go in that other room and fight whatever's in there for a free item. Try to remember another instances where it said, hey, we didn't receive your payment or something. I did have an issue with like a document that was supposed to be sent out a couple of times, some important documents, and they never received them. Like, period. And there was no tracking, so I was SOL with that, so... That was a few years ago. Lesson learned. If you got important documents and stuff that you need to get sent out, tracking. Track that sucker. Signature required. Like... Now, something like electricity bill or whatever. Not so much. They're pretty reliant on getting my payments cashed in time and always receiving them. Now, if there's any issues, I'll cancel. Oh, well, that's another thing too. So I made a mistake years ago. I was talking about the one place that said that they didn't receive my payment. I made the mistake that what I should have done was call the bank, cancel the check that I sent to them, which cost a fee, and then give them a new payment. I should have did that. That was one mistake, too, I made with that, because I was falling under the assumption that they were telling the truth, which they wasn't. Whether they did it on purpose or they misplaced it, regardless, it was negligence and they decided to cash it after the fact without telling me that they found it and asked me if they want to cash it anyways. Instead of paying 2 months out of the blue that I didn't owe. Because I already made the payment to it. Now, I wasn't behind on payments. I decided to make a 2-month worth of payments. I think. I don't remember. There might have been a point where maybe I had a little bit of an issue, but I paid it both on time. But that's been many years ago. And so they've been getting their regular payments every month on time. Not missing the first payment and then getting their second payment. But then they're trying to do... Well, the one owner was trying to be like, oh, seems like there's a long consistency of you not providing the payment on time. So I've handwritten out without providing any evidence. Handwritten. On some, like, yellow line paper. And not illustrating what the charges were exactly about. And essentially, it was just a big scam. A big fraudulent thing, which nothing came of it, so. And they don't send me any bills. They don't say anything about it. Nothing. So. And I have a contract, so they say, well, like, well, we changed our rental prices recently. And which if that was the case, they would have to send me a new type of agreement to sign, which they hadn't done that since 2016. So, and they never notified me of any price changes. So it can't be. I should have went to the curse room, by the way. And I left my items behind. Fantastic. I think I did. No, I would. Yeah, I would have, because why would there be items in the item room? The item icon in the item room. Because I missed something. I missed more than one thing. Whatever. All honesty, we haven't had much good luck with the moving box and the reroll machine, so. Especially last run where we did that for nearly an hour. Okay. Guess we take this and go down. See, the trust of others like that, especially something as precious as, like, renting something, a space. You want to be very careful with it. Because I've heard of rental companies, not this one specifically, but I've heard of rental companies, like landlord stuff in my area. Not mine, thank God, not my place. Even though it used to be like that, but they fixed it long before I came here. Oh my God. I'm gonna die, by the way, because I did that little malarkey mistake. Shit. Well, I'm gonna end this run, I guess. That was unfortunate. That was a huge screw up on my part. I was gonna say, before I end this, so the apartment company, a couple of apartment companies I heard about, they said, hey, we didn't get our payments in. Or whatever, which that was not the case, and then they would lie about it, adding all these additional fees. Even at one point, one landlord coming to somebody's place with a couple other people and trying to break and beat him up with a baseball bat. One tenant. So, thankfully, I'm not under any of those kind of rental companies, because I'll be ending up breaking their legs if they come after me physically like that, breaking in my place. It's all fair game when they come in. I'll say that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.